completely empty 7th Avenue. It's about 3:30 in the afternoon, no one. Everyone is at home, as they should be. This is 7th Avenue and 42nd Street, as you can see from the sign. And if you look down 42nd Street, no one. 3:30 in the afternoon, it should be packed. On a Friday, no one. And just to show you what's happened, H&M, which usually has a brilliant sign display, has decided just to have a plain display, probably to cut back on the costs of using all that electricity for their signage. Another view of 42nd Street looking west. Empty. Around 3:30 right now. Subways are completely empty also. It's really, really amazing seeing all of this in New York. No one. And then you can take a look down 42nd Street, no one. Another view of Times Square, empty. From 43rd Street and 7th Avenue, another view of Times Square, just to show everyone how empty it is. Everything is pretty much closed. Everyone's at home, except for a few people, of course. But almost everyone is at home, but they still have a lot of the lights on and a lot of the screens on, which is a very interesting thing. Some of the screens are not as on as they should be, like the one for H&M, but other screens are all on, and that's very interesting that that would be the case. Maybe it's a way of showing solidarity with New York, saying life goes on, and we don't want to change things in Times Square just because of a virus. More of this empty Times Square at 45th and Broadway. You can see no one, or very few people. This is normally hustling and bustling all around here. Vendors all around. Now, no one. Just a few tourists, probably stuck here, having to go through Times Square, but no one. You can even see 45th Street. No one around here at all. No cars, just those very few cars that need to be here for whatever reason. But other than that, no one. And it makes sense, right? Like, there's no overriding reason to be outside because everything is closed. And this is around 4 o'clock now on a Friday, where everyone is usually going out, but no one really wants to go out right now. And here you can see the newscasters broadcasting, just that there's so many people interested in the whole world, and people want to know what's going on, how does this impact Times Square, and just imagine the contrast Normally, this place is packed with people, empty right now, and that's a very good comparison for a newscaster to show the effects in New York and how this also reflects the effects in the rest of the world. Now remember, about 4 billion people in the world are on lockdown. Half the world. India, China, US, number of countries in Europe. Now there are some exceptions. Brazil does not want to lock down the country. There are some other countries that just do not want to lock down. Belarus and a number of other countries feel that they can go without a lockdown. Sweden also. But this just shows you the impact in New York of what's going on. Empty. Here we'll just get a closer look at this broadcast. See here, other people are in Times Square to record this unique event that's going on, where it's completely empty. You can even see here another set of people that want to see and record this historic event of an empty Times Square. "10 years from now, people will ask the question, where were you in 2020? And I think that's what a number of people here are doing. They're just really trying to record what's going on and just to give everyone a glimpse of what this is like. Intense camera crew. There you go. You see they're in on the action. Not only are they recording the action, but they're part of the action. Another glimpse of Times Square from 46th and Broadway. Empty, as I said a number of times, but you have to see it to believe it.
Was gar nicht mit drauf kam. Was erzählt ist, dass ihr euch irgendwo mal kennengelernt habt.
Intersection of 34th and 7th Avenue, and like in Times Square, right near the entrance to Macy's, no one. Everyone is at home. Streets are empty. No one is around. We are right next to Penn Station also. And you can see normally Many commuters at around 5 o'clock are heading back to Long Island, but right now, all the folks from Long Island have stayed in Long Island. Makes no sense to go outside. And as we look north, you can see Times Square in the distance. No traffic, or very little traffic. No pedestrians. At around this time, these sidewalks are packed with people marching toward Penn Station, hurrying up to get home on a Friday. No one. Right at 32nd 7th Avenue, right at the main entrance of Penn Station. No one. Just a few people hanging out, but other than that, no one. Look at the traffic. That's right, no traffic. That's what's so unusual. No taxis waiting, no one. It's like a ghost town. And I'd say most taxis are not around except if you call them up, because it makes no sense for the driver to pay the annual daily fee for the taxi when there's no one to pick up. So I think the only taxis that will be around will be the owners of the medallions, but they are suffering because the economy is so bad that there's very few people to pick up, very few taxis that people would want to rent. So the only people that would probably be using their taxis would be the owners of the taxis and the medallions, who they've already paid for everything, so why not go out and try to get some customers? But that is risky too. People just want to stay home. from 31st Street and 8th Avenue, right on the other side of Madison Square Garden. No one. This is about 5:15. No one. But we do have more taxis here. I believe it's because the train service is still operating and there are passengers from the train that get off at Penn Station, Amtrak, New Jersey Transit, Long Island Railroad, that need some transportation. But no one. Look at this. No one around here. No traffic, no people. It's a ghost town, which for a metropolitan area of 20 million people, to have a ghost town like this, really, really odd. Friday, 5:15, the streets are normally bumper to bumper with cars, honking. There's usually elbow to elbow people all on the sidewalks, but now, no one. And very, very few cars.